Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today, we're talking posters. One of my favourite ways to go over information, not to revise as such, but to get something stuck into your head, is a revision method. It is my second or third revision method in my process, and I have made some posters today, and I'm going to put them in the corner of the screen so that you can see how I make my notes or my posters as I explain how I make them, if that makes sense. So let me just, move this over here so that you can see how I do it. Now, I'm actually making this video after I made the notes or the posters because that's kind of how it works, I suppose. They're here, but not to give too much away. I am going to talk you through how I do them in steps. So, step numero uno is, or not even a step, it's more of a kind of section. Well, step one is I obviously just get the information and separate it. I work out what I'm going to make a poster on. You don't want your poster to be too wide. You just kind of want it to be on one or two different things. So I decided that this poster would be on the innate defense system. It is one thing. It is a small part of one topic, but there's a decent amount of information in there and enough to make a poster on. My hair is also doing weird stuff, but we'll ignore that. Okay. So as you can see, there, I did the barrier methods and I basically wrote them down. I just, title barriers. And then I went through with smaller titles in different colours so that you can see a clear difference and keeping everything the same, so each title was the same colour, etc, etc. And we went down through it, listing the barrier methods the barrier things. The barriers. They are barriers. And that was an information heavy thing. Usually I don't like things to be so information heavy, but sometimes they just kind of are, and that's just kind of the way some questions will go, or some topics will go, or some themes will go, etc. And then we went on to inflammation. Now, inflammation kind of brings us on to number two, and it is sequences or series of information. Bulleted lists, numbered lists. I like numbered lists. Gives you something to learn. Gives you something to learn in order. Ordered lists, yeah, that. So, I went through the process of inflammation in order. I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How am I going to remember it? Point 1, point 2, point 3, point 4, point 5, point 6, point 7. As simple as that, except obviously you have to learn it. But making posters with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 very clearly drawn, can give you revision aids. You know how many points there are. You know what's coming after each point. You'll hopefully learn it better and remember it better. And so just write down the information. And at the bottom, I do have two diagrams which kind of sum up the entire list. And I think that is one of my favourite ways, really, to make these, because you can kind of see, what's going on in the information. Then you also have the bit under the information where you say, aha, so this is what's happening, in real life or in the real diagrams. So that is one of my favourite ways to do bulleted lists or numbered or ordered lists. So then obviously after my first ordered list, I had another ordered list to do. So we had the inflammation process and then the phagocytosis process. And for the phagocytosis process, the diagram is slightly more important to know the diagram because the diagram holds so much more information than the inflammation one, where everything's kind of crammed into one space. So I left a column for the big diagram. Big diagrams and posters go hand in hand. One of the reasons why you make posters is so you can see things clearly, so you can see things laid out clearly. One of the reasons why I love them is because you get to draw big diagrams. And so I drew out my ordered list and then I drew the diagrams. Now, the diagram, this one was a nice big one. Sometimes there'll be smaller diagrams, sometimes there'll be massive ones. I think I have one about the kidney where the diagram is literally the entire page. About a third of the page. This is another poster I did on the kidney. Obviously, there is the kidney. And as you see, this one is more diagram heavy than word heavy because there just happens to be more diagrams in this topic than words, and that's just kind of how it worked this time. But then I also have my little pathway table, and that's something my teacher showed us, and I actually really like it. As in, I really, really, really like this method of setting that out. So I just had to put it in. It's great. It's one of my favorite things actually about this topic, how everything can be the different types of cells coming from the PPHPSC, or the pluripotent hematopoietic stem cell. Yes, fun. I added it at the bottom. So that, I suppose, is all of the behind the scenes of what each thing in the poster is. Now we go on to how. How do you do this? How do you make this poster? That's kind of idea. So, step one, you want to choose your small topic. You don't want to choose something big. You don't want to choose a whole topic to put into one poster, because you're not going to fit it. There's literally too much to fit onto an A4 page. So I chose one small bit, and I thought, you know what? There's not too much here. I should be able to fit it into a poster. I may have a little bit of extra room, or I may have a little bit of space where I can add more diagrams. And so I just gave it a go. Went ahead and did it, and it happened to fit. Sometimes I'll have awkward space at the bottom where I'll write something big or draw a diagram that probably shouldn't go there, but kind of fits. Yeah, sometimes they don't fit perfectly, but you can make it work. For example, there is a little bit of room here, but I don't care. It's a poster. It's supposed to look decent, and it does. So I'm kind of happy with that. Okay, so how do you choose your information for posters? This is kind of the hard bit, the confusing bit. Information for posters. So I like to think of a poster being everything you would highlight. So if you're going through your information and you're highlighting things, those are really the key facts or the information that you want to put into your poster. If you have an ordered list, it may be slightly different because there are keywords you want to get in, but you want to put them in a sentence, because that's the sentence you're going to want to learn, I suppose. So yeah, a poster is an amalgamation of everything you would highlight. I like that definition. Yeah, if you're going to highlight it, put it in. If it's something you'd put in a sticky note, put it in. If it's something you would underline, put it in. Definitions, go for it. If you're doing a definition, I recommend putting in the entire definition and not just the part of the definition you highlight, because definitions are important and could be worth 1 or 2 or 3 marks. And you want to be getting those definition marks. They're easy to get if you just learn it. That's how it works. Posters, I love them. In case you can't tell by the fact that I have an actual poster book, where I have, there's one with lots of writing, various posters of various topics from biology and also chemistry. I only do posters for biology and chemistry, no point for maths, because it is not information heavy. But I love posters because they look nice. So my notes are usually, I would say black and white, but they're more blue and white because I use blue pens to write my ink. I think blue pen's easier to read, and I do it on a yellow background. Well, my biology notes have a slight yellow background, which I love because it makes it look slightly different, with the blue and yellow. So why would I encourage you to make posters? So I think posters are a really good way of getting information into your head, again, going over the information, again, doing it not for the first time, but the second time, or the third time, or the fourth time, etc., etc. I like to have done things a couple of times. I like to have written things out a couple of times, because the more times you write something out, the more likely you are to remember it. You actually learn better from reading your own handwriting, and you learn pretty well from writing things out too. So learning from your own handwriting, poster. Learning from your own handwriting, notes. Writing things out, notes and posters. It's all connected. Posters also look great. I mean, I have done this so many times, but I have a poster up on my wall, literally above there, about chemistry. It is organic chemistry, my organic mind map, or my organic map, which has pretty much every single reaction that I needed for AS organic. Obviously, I'll be making one for A2 organic and putting it up there too. I might even extend the one I have, because it still could be extended, I suppose, or made better or improved. I love them. Some posters I will make on squared paper. So if you look closely, you can see that it's very lightly squared. I can't tell you where I got this one, but I can tell you where I got this squared paper notebook. If you want to buy this squared paper notebook, just head on over to Germany. I got this in Rewe. In Germany, Rewe is kind of the equivalent of Sainsbury's or Tesco's in Germany. I would say it's, yeah, I'd say Sainsbury's or Tesco's. It's kind of like a shop where you can get anything, kind of supermarket. And yeah, I got this squared paper. It's called a Beihändeblocke or Beihänderblock. Ambidextrous notepad, and it's squared. The squares are kind of light, and if you put Sharpie on it, it makes the squares appear even less light because the Sharpie is so bright and over the top. But I find it really, really, really useful for making my posters because you can, line things up by square. You can put things into squares, and squares are great shapes anyway. We should be getting more squared paper than lined paper because squared paper is underrated, honestly. But that is all I have time for this video. If you liked, like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, do all that great stuff. Are there any things you want help with? Any revision ideas you have? Any things you want me to explore? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see if I can do it. But thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all again later. Bye.